My name is Justin Inunkasi. I am the head of retail multi-asset funds at Legal and General Investment Management, the co-founder of Talk About Black and advisor to the board at City Hive. And I'm excited today to be hosting and as Bev just said, creating questions for everybody. And we really hope that we can create a true partnership with a cross-industry mentoring program led by City Hive and Talk About Black. When I look at my career and I look at how I've progressed, there's no way I would have got to the position that I got to without some, very strong line managers who've acted as mentors to me, but also as sounding boards. And even today, my ex-managers act as mentors and sounding boards. Mentoring is vitally important. And I'll just tell you one quick story, and it's a story that I typically talk, I've mentioned, you may have heard me talk about before, is of a Black lady who in an organization, in an operational department, wanting or having the desire to move into an investment type of role, went to a Russell Group University, did a quantitative degree, and 2-1 in the degree, and so on and so forth. But she told me that if there was a role that came upon the investment floor, she wouldn't even apply for it. And the reason why was, she said, well, when I look at the investment floor, I see people that don't look like me, don't sound like me, and I have enough trouble dealing with that where I am now, where it's a lot more diverse. But she did say that actually having guidance, having a mentor would really help her to navigate that. So just an example of how strong mentors can be in helping and guiding people through organizations. I'll hand over to Gerald and Bev, who are going to go into some of the detail of on the presentation around TAB and around City Hive. But I just wanted to leave you with one thing, and this one thing is this, is that representation is not only an industry issue, as you can see from here, it's a societal issue. And actually, the only way we're going to solve this for our industry is if we all come together and all put resources behind this. And really, this is what this conversation is about. It's asking for a partnership and for us all to come together to try and help this progression for talented individuals that otherwise would not get that mentorship.
Thank you, Justin. So hi, everyone. My name is Gerald Boateng. I'm obviously I've been working with TAB for about the last year or so, but in my day role, I'm actually a operations analyst working with Oak Asset Pension Management, which is essentially the fiduciary manager for the Barclays UK retirement fund. So yep, as I've mentioned, so as Justin previously mentioned, essentially what we're seeing here is essentially most organizations, we've seen it in the press, we've seen it on their websites, they've all had a stated objective to better achieve outcomes for ethnic minorities and also females in terms of retention and progression. However, what we're seeing is that there currently doesn't seem to be a coherent or effective strategy or resources dedicated to that cause. And as a result, hence we're not seeing companies being able to better show that representation within the organization, and a lot of many talented female and ethnic minority employees actually leaving to other roles. So what we are trying to do here. So in terms of what we're trying to do, I think, yep. So thank you, Bev. Unlike fund performance, the ethnicity and gender gap is a percentage gap that we want to actually see shrink, not grow. But to tackle the deep-rooted structural issues, I think it's imperative for us to work together as an industry rather than as individual firms to create more impactful, positive change. And at career level, at all career levels and across all job functions, women and ethnic minorities continue to be underrepresented and underpaid within our sector. So what we're seeing is as wide as the industry is, the higher the position, the lower the female and ethnic minority population. And as we're clearly seeing this, at the higher levels and at the board. So in order for us to retain and empower the existing diverse talent that we have within our organizations, and to continue to create ways for them to develop and progress within the firm, we need to put in place actions. And this is what we're trying to do here with the cross-company mentoring scheme. So just moving on to Bev.
Thank you, Gerald. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Bev Shah and I'm Chief Executive of City Hive. We are an organisation that focuses purely on helping the investment management industry meet their sustainable responsibilities regarding diversity, inclusion and equality. But we're all in this meeting, we've all kind of given up an hour of our time today, or all of you have, because you understand there's a problem. And the problem isn't going to be fixed from just talking about the problem. It's multi-layer, it's multi-pronged. Many levers are going to have to be pulled over the short, medium and long term, whether they're strategic or structural. This is one solution that we have already piloted and proven that it can help. An initiative that is needed in order to support diverse talent that we want to see move up the pipeline. We can talk about it all the time, but if we don't, and we talk about mentoring all the time as a solution, but we aren't offering it, and we need to offer it to those people who don't ordinarily get a chance to access it. So what is the scheme? The scheme actually came about, I'm going to go off script now, which those of you know me know I do a lot. So the scheme came about after conversations around firms putting out commitments, but actually not backing it up with tangible action. It was I think some awards I was involved with where they realised that is great for shining a light on role models, but actually doesn't close any of the gaps that we're trying to close. So the idea behind the mentoring scheme is not just for your firm to benefit, but for the industry and in effect your future talent pool to benefit. The way it works is via sponsorship. In the same way that your organisations would sponsor other things in the industry, whether be it an awards dinner table or an advertising campaign, we much prefer that those budgets are used to support this scheme because it would impact how your organisation is perceived as well. As a sponsor firm, you would get half the places that you've paid in for, but you would also be funding other people in the industry who are women and ethnic minorities to also get mentored. The more sponsors we have, the more people who get mentored. And just to give you an idea, from the sponsors we've already got, which is Federated Hermes as a lead sponsor, Pictet, Mirabeau and Invesco, that's 20 pairs of people. So that's 20 ethnic minorities and women who will get mentored when the scheme opens later this year. And the more of you that sign up, the more we will be able to help. The scheme is 9 months long and anyone can apply to be a mentor. Interestingly, I was just emailing with some of the mentors we had in our scheme last year. And it's quite sweet because some of them are older white gentlemen who have a lot of experience they can share and really feel like they can't. But we do feel there's a lot of benefit from the diversity actually of anybody in the industry mentoring. It's a skill set that they can learn and then also pay it forward and continue to mentor other people formally or informally. So this is really important that the mentors can be absolutely anybody, and they can also receive the great benefit from doing it. I've gone through, there's lots of stuff on this slide which I will send around, but this is about the programme itself. some people feel that running a mentoring scheme is as simple as having a spreadsheet of names and matching them up. A lot more goes into running a successful scheme, because as much as the formal part might only be 9 months long, what we're trying to achieve is a long-term relationship between the mentor and the mentee that is effective. We're not looking to make friendships. We're looking for real career guidance over a long sustained period, and we want both sides to benefit. We want the mentor to learn how to be a mentor. It's not as simple as just having experience in the industry. A lot goes into training up our mentors and our mentees in order to set guidance on and expectations. We also want our mentees to understand that they are being given this opportunity, and so they must commit to playing their part in the scheme. Again, often people don't realise the cost that goes behind it, and they need to understand that sponsor firms have, are funding them to go through this. It's not their right, and they need to also play their part to ensure they get in contact with their mentor and they make the most out of it. So it's very important that they learn to set expectations, and that's what we will ensure that they do. The programme itself has 9 months of content around it and support, and again, the more gold sponsors we have, we will also be able to have more professional development events around it. So why sponsor? Well, I've already highlighted a lot of reasons. Whether it's because your company genuinely believes in this, whether it's, reputational, whether it's you just don't know what to do and you need to do something. There are lots of reasons why you should sponsor this over maybe many other things that you might be doing. But for me, the main thing is that if you're even on this call, your organisation is recognised that something needs to be done. And this programme is very much that. This is a way for your organisation to show tangibly that you are ready to collaborate and ready to take action. It's also a great way to let your clients and other stakeholders know, that you're ready to go beyond pledges and platitudes and rhetorics. There are many charters you can go and sign, but if you don't actually take tangible action, nothing will happen. Unfortunately, it's not, there's no magic formula. So down to the brass tacks, what does it cost? What does it mean? Silver membership, or rather silver sponsorship, basically gives you 2 pairs of sponsors within your firm, but you would also be funding 2 people or 2 pairs within an open pool. You'd get all the kind of logos that go around sponsoring something. So we would make sure that everyone would know that you were involved, and all the branding collateral that goes with it. If you are a gold sponsor, and this might be more attractive for maybe bigger firms who are looking to have more places, this would be 4 pairs within your firm, 4 places funded, and then you would also be sponsoring a solo event just with your own branding on. This will probably be something around professional development for the industry and for the mentors. So that's kind of the sponsor packages. Time frame, we're looking at commitments by the end of June at the latest. As soon as you commit, you can start marketing that you're involved in this. There's no reason why you have to wait till June the 30th. I think the current sponsors have already benefited from having their name attached to this. We have a media partnership with Investment Week for this scheme, which has already had lots of articles written about and collateral being put out there. We are supported by PIMFA, Gaines, Guild of Investment Managers, the Diversity Project, just to name a few organisations that are supporting us as media partners. So there is a lot of appetite. So commit by 30th of June, and then on the 1st of July we launch the scheme. We launch the scheme for applications. So this means we will be going out there to let the industry know that they can apply, whether it's to be a mentor or a mentee. Now I can tell you my inbox is already full of people pitching to be a mentee. That it just tells me what the demand is. Last year, we had 6 times as many people apply for the mentor program than we had places. And actually, we had twice as many mentors as we needed. So there is a demand out there. And actually, some of those emails are really heartbreaking, because people really, really want to get on. And they've constantly been told that mentoring is what they need. And because they've been told that, they feel that's what they have to reach for. And it might not be mentoring, but that's what they feel. They've been told it. So this is where the industry can really collaborate to do something. The matching takes place in August. So this is where our professional matchers will sit down and look at all the applications and really look at whose skill set matches whose. We focus on career resilience more than senior leadership. So we are looking at the middle. Career resilience, it's important in terms of retention of that talent within the industry. We need them to want to take the step up, and we need to focus on that side of things. So we match people on what they're looking to gain, and not just the skills of, salesperson to salesperson, for example. Then in early September, so probably around when schools go back, we will inform the mentors and mentees of their matches. They have some onboarding time. So for starters, they have to agree that they accept the match they've been made. They will be onboarded. They will have to make a pledge that they will commit to the full program. And then they will go through their training process. And then the program really starts in earnest, at which point, hopefully the mentors will take it away. During the program, there will be lots of check-in points. There are other events where they will be all the mentors and mentees will be retrained and given the advice. There's ad hoc as well. There is a helpline whenever either side comes unstuck, which we have seen even last year in our pilot scheme. There were conversations that needed, the mentor needed some guidance on how to manage. But we can help you, get you back on track. And in fact, yesterday I just got an email from one of our mentors who's agreed to carry on mentoring the lady she was mentoring for another year. So, and then we'll get to this time next year when the program will officially close, but by then hopefully you guys would have signed up for next year's program as well, and then we will keep this rolling going forward. We want this to be big. We want this to be something that our industry can get behind and be proud of, that will keep rolling year on year until, you know what, we don't need mentoring anymore. So before we open to questions, I just want to share some common questions that I get asked. Often we get told, well, we've already got a scheme. Do we need this one as well? My answer is yes. The benefits of an internal scheme are very different to the benefits of an external scheme. So, there is a level of openness that you can have with someone who doesn't work within your firm. Barriers do come down a lot more. And I think where we're already recognizing that we don't have that much diversity anyway, this is a way for mentee cohorts to build networks with peer group. Will we be breaching confidentiality? My answer is no. This is no different than having any conversation with anybody in the industry. You're still bound by the rules of engagement of being a professional. You have a contract with your organization. There won't be any form of espionage going on. It's no different than Justin and I going down to the pubs when they're open and having a conversation about the industry, whether it's macros or whatever it is. So, but at the same time, we do outline at that onset that there has to be an informal agreement between the mentor and mentee that things are confidential. But like with any relationship, you need to kind of establish that trust at the start. Is this good use of my executives' time? Absolutely. We're in this pickle at the moment because our executives have turned a blind eye to the issues of diversity for decades. This is a great way for them to pay it forward, for them to, I suppose the term always uses reverse mentor, to see things from someone else's eyes. And really, what are we talking about over a 9-month period, maybe an hour a month? If they haven't got that time to pay it forward, then there's maybe something wrong and you aren't as committed as you'd like. So it's a great use of time, particularly when there is a framework put in place of what the outcomes should be. And that is where we make sure our mentees understand that. Will my staff be poached? No, this is not a job interview. I don't know anyone who's ever got a job off being mentored. So that's not something for you to worry about. What it might do, however, it might make your firm more attractive to diverse talent. Because one of the things that we are seeing is when people are looking to move firms or looking to join a new organisation, they are looking to see what their organisation is tangibly doing. And this is a great message. It's telling them, actually, we are doing something. So it won't mean you'll lose your staff. You might actually end up gaining. Yeah, and then, God, that was quick. I'm going to speed that up, didn't I? So how can you commit? Well, there is this rather weird Bitterly link that I've put up here, which we will email around. It's a form, a really easy way for firms to just sign up. We will email this round with this presentation, where you can just fill it in and commit to whatever level you want. We'll also send this video round. So if there are people within your organisation that need to know more or want to see something or need a pitch, they can rewatch this. Yeah, and that's kind of the easiest way to do this. You can email me or our HQ email whenever you like with any questions. And before I hand over Justin to ask any questions, there is also a little video that you can share, which I actually, do you know what? We can watch it at the end. So Justin, I'm going to hand over to you to take any questions, but I'm going to stop sharing. So
thank you, Bev. So we've had a few in, a few direct to me, and one from Victoria to everybody. So the first one is, you just said there's a video we can share, but do we have any literature or resources we can pass on to the firm? I think you mentioned about the presentation and the video. Is there anything else that people can pass on?
Well, yeah, there's a brochure. So there's a lot of collateral. What we don't want to end up with, which often happens with these things, is to have lots and lots of follow-up meetings, because the reality is we're doing a day job, and certainly at City Hive, our focus is actually on creating the change, not having to kind of have 50 meetings to explain things that we've already explained. That's why we're having this meeting. And Justin, you're the same. People, it's kind of, you know, what we want is we've created a lot of resource, a lot of information. There's a track record. Yeah, brochures, presentations, short videos. This presentation on Zoom should hopefully be enough for, you know, for people internally to say, well, actually, yeah. And if you think about it, you know, even gold membership is less than the subscription to a Bloomberg terminal. You know, when you go back to your organisation, just go and ask them, how much resource do they actually put behind diversity? Because that's the thing. If you're spending more on biscuits, then you got a problem. I mean, maybe not now, right? Because no one's having any biscuits in the office. But that's the thing you've got to go and ask, and you've got to go and challenge and say, you know, we're not asking for a lot. So, but you're going to get a lot from it. So go on, more questions.
So I've got one here, Bev. Sounds like a good scheme. I can answer this one, but you can answer it as well. Sounds like a good scheme. Do we happen to have any previous mentees on the call? It would be great to hear mentee experience if possible. I'd just say on this one, I mean, I know you're going to cover this as well, Bev. We do have an article going out in Investment Week from one of the mentees of the previous scheme. That's going into Investment Week. I think it's this week or next week. But I know there's been a lot of positive feedback there, but you might want to comment on that as well.
Well, there is someone on this call, but I don't want to put them on the spot. So I've just asked them privately in the chat to see if they're willing to speak up. Yeah. I mean, look, so far on the whole, it's been positive. I'm not going to pretend like it's all been positive. There have been incidents around like the matching. That's the point of having a pilot scheme, you know. But I would say out of the 20 people we matched last year, it was only one pair that didn't get the match they wanted and wasn't as smooth. And I think in terms of returns, I'd take that, but also we've listened to feedback to improve things. I am just going to see if I can put a KU. I'm going to make you a, hold on, make you a co-host, and then she can speak. Right, let's see if I can find you. Okay, are you here?
Hi.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot. So you are one of our amazing mentees, and also, honestly, I didn't know she was coming on the call. So this is not a, what do you call it, a plant. Justin, you can ask her because they're not, whatever you want about the scheme.
Yes, I suppose, how did you find the scheme overall? And how did your relationship with your mentor go over the period?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi, Justin. Hi, Beth. Thanks for asking me to talk about it. I found it a really great experience because I only started to get involved in the mentoring scheme even at work about a year ago, and they're totally different. So the experience I got under the City Hive scheme, I found like a coach, mentor, and professional guide. But one thing that I've got to say is throughout the mentor program, you have to be honest about what your goals are and what you hope to achieve, because that's where you can get the best benefit out of it. And another key thing is to remember it's a two-way relationship. So your mentor is also learning as well as them mentoring you too. So just bear that in mind. But I found that it offered me so much value, and I've grown as a person, because normally I do not like public speaking whatsoever. I could join a meeting or a call like this and I would not speak up for anything because I'm quite introvert. But just from doing it, I've got so many opportunities, from where I'm even soon going to be speaking at an event about technology and neurodiversity, and it was through the coach I found through City Hive. She gave me just so much guidance and helped me in terms of shaping what I want to do going forward in my career. And even there was events that I done last year that again I would never have done, like facilitating, hosting events on different D&I networks at the London Stock Exchange. But again, there's times when didn't feel confident, I wasn't sure about something, and I always found that my mentor, she was like brilliant. I could talk about her and give her so many compliments, but she always gave me that encouragement. And if there was anything I was unsure about, she was like, do you want to get on a call? And then she'll coach me through it. And that's kind of the balance of what you need from a mentor. So I definitely say to everyone, definitely join, and there's so much you can gain from it, as well as your mentor too.
Thank you. Okay, your words mean so much. We did host for our mentors like some check-in points where they could all get together, and I think the feedback in general from certainly the mentors, all of them, was what all of the mentees really lacked was this confidence that has, you can hear it from Akea herself, that has blossomed inside them, because they've got someone they can go and talk to about this stuff. So thank you so much for.
No problem at all.
I promise you that wasn't a plant.
Check's in the post, don't worry.
No, thank you. I think it's a point you raised there actually as well is really important, the reverse mentoring aspects. And I do think that, since I've started mentoring in particular over the last 5 years, where I've started to mentor a lot of people, the amount that I get from the mentees in terms of and how it's helped me as a leader has been really important. I'm going to go back to some of these other questions. So probably one for you, Bev. Is the program for UK-based mentees only? We have a global footprint, so we want to ensure that we get exposure to those other offices as well. So Paris, Boston, for example.
No, it's not. It's open to anyone. So even pre-pandemic, the scheme was always meant to be run virtually, because one of the things that we noticed with many mentoring schemes is they're kind of geographically stunted. If you're based in London, even if you're based in London, it will be West End, Canary Wharf, the city. What we wanted to do is we wanted to mitigate travel time. Actually, an executive's time is precious, and if they can do a call in an hour, as opposed to have to also go and travel somewhere to a coffee shop or whatever, we wanted to mitigate that. Plus the demand we were seeing were from you know, from all locations. So it isn't limited to location. I can't answer whether it's limited to language. You know, I have made the assumption that everyone, certainly in the business world, speaks English. So that would be my only kind of criteria around it. I think even if structural and strategic issues may be slightly different country to country, I think that the problems we navigate in the office space are certainly very similar and can be, that guidance can be put in place. So absolutely doesn't impact it.
I second that. Another question is coming, Bev, around, and it's probably because I'm on the call, but is investment is it only investment we look at? Do we look at other specialist areas with other employees from different areas be able to access this?
Yeah, so this is not just for investment professionals. This is for anybody who works within the investment management ecosystem. You know, this shouldn't be just, because that is where your future employees are coming from. It doesn't make a difference if someone is investments, you know, coaching someone in another department. The issues are the same. So it's more, we are looking at goals orientation over day job orientation. There might be some overlaps, obviously, but definitely not just investments. Absolutely any department. There was a question up here as well that Wintered asked.
Oh, have I missed it?
Yeah, how do we measure effectiveness?
Yes.
So I'm not going to let that one slip, because actually this is something we have discussed recently within the team, because one of the blind spots often from initiatives like this and various others is that you don't track what's happening. We very much will be. So the way we want to do it is not just a bog standard annual survey that no one responds. We want our mentors to really, and I think we've got this from our cohort. They bought into this journey. So what we want to do is a little bit like BBC's Child of Your Time, you know, track them in where they go. What we need to know is, you know, as a mentee's gone through the program and as they carry on through their career, are they getting promotions? Are they continuing professional development? Are they continuing to see barriers? Those are the things that really will tell you whether a program is effective. And it will give us a lot more data that's what we need to see. You know, has it given them the confidence at the soft skills? And if it hasn't, why hasn't it? Or was it the start of their journey? So we will be measuring, because we are very much about accountability and transparency and moving the dial. And we'd be hypocrites if we didn't do it to ourselves.
Okay, there are some direct messages that you can't see, Bev.
Okay.
Are
they saying bad things about me? Have I got spinach in my
terrible? No, so what does the mentee application involve exactly? Is there a criteria for entry? Do you need to specify whether it's early, mid, late career, or is it just designed for people at certain stages in their career?
We will match you accordingly. So if you are kind of entry level and you've applied, we'll match you to someone who's mid-level. You know, we will collect all that data, so it doesn't really, you know, and if we can find you a match, so we're not targeting someone specifically, because we're looking at retention in the middle. So I would say for a mentee to get the most out of this, you do want to have a little bit of tenure underneath you. You know, we're not looking at your grad space here, because generally speaking, entry level have different initiatives that will support them, and maybe they aren't ready for a real mentor as yet. You need to know what you kind of are lacking before you go for one. So there's no right or wrong answer to this one. It's more just if you feel you need one, apply, and then we will find you someone who's got enough tenure above you. But it's likely that if you've got kind of 7 years in the industry, we aren't going to match you with a CEO, for example. We will find someone who's appropriate on the right level above you.
Bev, I've got a direct one in here again. Some people have actually sent them direct and then to everybody. So we're getting some duplications. But we've got one here. Great presentation, which is obviously a compliment there, Bev. As part of the program, can companies get involved with sourcing diverse talent to the industry? So I imagine this is where, as part of the mentoring scheme, can we actually look at people outside of the industry and who maybe want to move into the industry?
I would say not for this program specifically, However, you can come and talk to me at City Hive because that's what we do. I would also say that if you're a gold sponsor, and therefore that means you've got a kind of solo event for your company, you would have a say in what kind of event you want to put on. So it could be something more related to entry-level, non-diverse, non-industry talent. So this scheme is very much for people already in the industry. The missing middle, if you're in the middle of the pipeline, you're the one that's getting missed off at the moment. I've got a direct one as well, asking another one saying, great presentation. Thanks. What have you learned from previous programs, and how has this program adapted? So to give you some background, I was a funds researcher for many, many years, and I would say my heart lies with being an analyst and looking at processes and deconstructing them. So that's exactly what I did with this. When we put this mentoring scheme together, we did look at other schemes out there, what works and what doesn't. What we've done with this one, which I don't think any other industry does, is we've focused on purely, so there are cross-company schemes out there. The 30% Club do one, but that is across industries. We've put a barrier up that this is just for the investment management ecosystem, because there is some cross-pollination of information that's relevant to our industry that happens when you have the relationship. And then we've learned things around from the previous program and adapt them accordingly in terms of who are the mentees. So just focusing, first it was gender last year, but now opening up to all ethnic minorities. And really we're doing what any good process, we're basically honing and learning as we go along. So we have adapted things, we listen, and we'll keep improving year on year as we get feedback.
Yeah, a couple more. Well, a comment: confidence on return to the office will be an issue too. I agree with that, Sean. Then we've got one around how do we match more specifically? Do we look at shared interest between mentors and mentees?
So I am not the person who does the matching. We have a team who are experts in the mentoring space. So I'm not even going to pretend like I'm the expert, but what they do is they look at a mixture of that, from shared interests to goals, and it's very much the goal side that we focus on. If you've got a mentor who isn't, I don't know, confident and preaching about confidence, or whatever it is that you're looking for, then there is kind of no point in matching you with that person. So it's a mixture. What we aren't doing, however, which other schemes do, is we aren't just relying on an algorithm. I've never been into little black box investing anyway, so we aren't just leaving it to the machine. God, what do we call it? Monkey versus machine. We aren't leaving it to the a black box just to match people up and leave them to it. There is qualitative and quantitative input in matching people, and really the success of a relationship comes from matching someone with the right person.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, because actually the best mentors that I've had actually have been very different from me, and actually really helped me fill in the gaps that I didn't have, that I did have. So I do think it really depends on what you're looking for, but actually shared interests sometimes can act against you as a mentee. And then there's one last question here, Bev, that I have around gold sponsors. Can they only have a maximum of 4 mentees in the program?
There is an option for all sponsors to have additional pairs at a cost. For transparency, it costs all the training and the content and the events. It costs around £500 per person to go through this scheme. This isn't a massive commercial success. This is an impact success initiative. So as a gold sponsor, you absolutely can have more. There is, in the brochure, there is a level which is bronze, which it isn't aimed at corporates. Like, if someone comes to me and they work for a asset manager that's got $1 trillion in assets under management, I'm going to say to you, go back and get a sponsor. But we have reserved that level for people who work for smaller organisations who don't have the budget to sponsor but would like to be involved in the scheme. And we haven't got a hard number in terms of, because it all depends on how many of you sponsor the scheme. We might, but the other thing as well is that the open pool, because half of it will be open to anybody, can also go to people in your organisation. There's nothing stopping, you know, everyone in your organisation applying and getting matched. If the criteria is right, they'll get matched. It's just a guarantee that you'll definitely get 4 places.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point again, Bev, is that sometimes, I mean, I know that most businesses that I've worked in have kind of put talent in these boxes, and if you're in the far right box, then you get all the attention. But actually, sometimes the people that aren't in that far right box, which need the mentoring in order to get to that next level. So, you know, we're not trying to be exclusive here, that people in your organization can apply for this in the open pool, even if they haven't been selected by the overall business. And I think that is really important.
It's that whole kind of I don't know, that cheerleader high school prefect adage. You know, the people who maybe don't actually need the mentoring are the ones that get selected, or they're the ones, people who've already got the confidence to go and ask. What we're trying to do is we're trying to scoop up those people who don't ordinarily put their hands up, don't feel like they'll be the ones to get it. They're the ones that need support. They're the ones that we're losing as an industry. So and those people are everywhere. Every organisation has them. So I know I was one of those people. I never would have asked to be on a mentoring scheme. I didn't think it was an option for me. So that's what we're trying to aim for.
So I think that's it for the questions. So just then some closing thoughts. Bev, do you want to go first, and then Gerald, do you want to have, if you've got any? I'll add my bit.
Yeah. So you know, hopefully we've answered all your questions about this. This is obviously just one of the initiatives that City Hive works on to help the industry, and we need to start actually backing in, you know, initiatives, actually doing things, like, you know, not just talking about it. God, you know, Justin and I mean, we're both kind of renter voice, aren't we? You know, we know we're pushed in front because of the colour on our skin, and I'm a woman and you're one of the only black fund managers in the industry, you know, but there's only so far we can go with that. What we want to do is we want to create an army of people, right, in the industry that we've supported, and this is what we're trying to do. And the whole point of this is so the industry's better. You know, cognitive diversity is only achieved if we get representative diversity. So that's what we need, and clients are asking for this. Clients are asking. So it's a great way for you to show your clients. So that's my last word on this.
Gerald, you got anything? No.
He was having problems with his broadband, so he might have dropped off.
Okay, so then just from my perspective, I think you all know, I know many people on this call, I can see kind of very familiar names. I think you all know how passionate myself and Bev are, and Gerald, in really making a difference. I think we've built something here which structurally can do that. It's very credible, it's very organised, and it's very transparent what we're trying to do. And I think the difference with this is that it tangibly makes a difference to people that are already in the industry, that are struggling, that may be struggling or may not have the chance in terms of getting that progression that they may otherwise have if it was a level playing field. Just as TAB and the Diversity Project and all of the other organisations that Bev mentioned are partnering and helping and, you know, supporting City Hive throughout all of this. We're asking all the asset managers on this call to stand shoulder to shoulder, side by side with their peers in order to really make a difference in creating a better, more representative industry. With that, thank you very much.
I'm just going to share this video, which is only 90 seconds, but it's a nicer way to end than just me and Justin waving at the screen. Hope this works. Hold on. And now we get to wave at the screen. Thank you, everyone, for
Thanks,
your
everybody.
time.
Take
Bye.
care. Cheers. Bye-bye.